It has been said that average people want you to stay average. Welcome to the Breaking Average podcast, the podcast designed to challenge you to break the mold that average has on the world. Each episode offers insights directly from those who choose to break average every day. Now, for the latest insights, here are your hosts, Paul Gustafson and Rick Morris.
Welcome to the Breaking Average podcast. It's season 3, episode 2. My name's Rick Morris, and I'm here with my co-host, Paul Gustafson. Paul, how you doing, partner?
Rick, great to be with you. I'm excited. We get into a great discussion today, and I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely. We're going to be talking about one of the greatest coaches ever to break average in John Wooden today, and we're going to discuss his 7-point creed.
Yeah, the 7-point creed. I don't know where I came across this, and I'm sure people have seen it and glanced at it, and it's probably like one of the earliest memes of history, right? Because it was one that is, and we'll unpack the story in a little bit, but it was a meme that his dad gave him years earlier, but it's impacted more lives, and I was like, wow, what a powerful concept for us to kind of dive into on the Breaking Average podcast. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, when we talk about the original memes, we're talking about like index cards and business cards and stuff. Those are the original memes before everything went digital. But go ahead and dive into that story, Paul.
That's right. Analog memes, have as much of an impact as digital ones, maybe even more so. But yeah, so, John Wooden, 29-year coaching career, right? 29 years. That's pretty significant. And most of us recognize him. If you're a sports fan, you know that he won 10 NCAA championships, which is like, can you imagine that? And most of those were like within the 12 years, right? So 10 of those 12 years were NCAA championships. Well, keep in mind though, guys, 29-year career. So he, we just talked about failure and, the power of failure, the value of failure in our last podcast. Wouldn't experience some failure. He wasn't successful day one. So that's encouraging for us to know. So go back and listen to that podcast if you haven't had a chance. But in the years from 64 to 75, he's known as the Wizard of Westwood. He had 7 consecutive titles, all right? 88 straight regular season victories, 38 straight NCAA tournament wins. I know there's other greats out there, Coach K and others, but John Wooden really set the bar for all of us. And it wasn't until that 16th year as the UCLA coach that he started really having those wins, that championship run. If you could go back in time and ask John Wooden, of course he passed in 2010, what was the significant moment in his life to kind of set the vector for him? He goes back and he talks about when his dad, at graduating from 8th grade, right? I didn't even know they had graduations in 8th grade back then, but apparently he graduated from 8th grade. And his dad gave him a $2 bill, cool, and a meme. It was a white card, and on the white card there was something on each side. One was a poem by Henry Van Dyke, and the other was a 7-point creed that encapsulated his dad. His dad's name was Joshua Wooden's philosophy of life. And it was titled 7 Things to Do. And he says to John Wooden is thinking back, and he says, my dad said this to me. He says, Johnny, try and live up to these and you'll do all right. So these 7 points, Wooden explained, have helped him develop a balanced attitude toward victory and defeat, handling the failures and the successes. And I can't wait to get into this. I think it's allowed him to break average, and I think it could allow us to break average too.
Yeah, a lot of people idolize coaches, but there's certain ones that come along. Wooden, one of those. I got a chance to meet and know Pat Summitt, who also, had all the success, but took forever to kind of garner the culture that was necessary to get there. But I love hearing the stories, when John Maxwell talks about meeting John Wooden and telling those stories. Those are fascinating stories. But what's interesting to me is, John referencing something that Joshua gave him. And then you've got Melvin on the other side, which is John Maxwell's dad, who's just an amazing. We just lost him too, but
Yeah.
I kind of see that parallel in this as well. Is that these dads really took care of their sons and gave them these things. Now they went and did great things with it, but really established kind of that relationship in the home.
That's a great point. Yeah, and we shouldn't ignore that. What an impact that we can make as parents.
Yeah.
So the success that you want to have in life starts at home. It starts with you in terms of what you can do with your son or daughter. And that's pretty powerful. It's encouraging for all of us as parents that we can just write a little note and just say, hey, these are things to live by. That if you live up to these, you'll do all right. That's pretty powerful. So, all right. So I want to invite you guys. We're going to try to put some of these principles on our website, breakingaverage.com. So definitely go there, find those resources. We'll highlight the 7 ones that we're going to be talking about here. And Rick, we got a pretty cool sponsor today, don't we?
That's right. Our sponsor today is Give Kids the World Village. This is near and dear to my heart. I did a lot of volunteering for them when I was younger. We partnered with them when we did the Mickey Mouse Club reunion. We've got another event coming up in September with them that's benefiting them. But they're rated 4 stars by the Charity Navigator. They're a village. It's 89-acre whimsical nonprofit resort in Kissimmee, Florida, that provides week-long cost-free wish vacations to critically ill children and their families from around the world. In fact, one of the things I did as a senior in high school is I chronicled the first time we had Russian children come in. It was a big event. I filmed that. Interestingly enough, when I was at Mickey Mouse Club, the reunion, I was meeting with the executive director. They had heard the stories, but the guy that started this has passed on, but they'd heard the stories of this video of the Russian children. And I was like, I still have it. So it was a really cool little exchange there. I was able to send them the video that they'd heard about for years and was kind of legendary, but they'd never seen it. But a stay at the village is much more than a vacation, though. So during one transformative week, Wish families, they laugh, they play, they create priceless memories together away from hospital visits, medical procedures. Essentially, it's a magical week of yes. And every week is a theme week. They really roll out all the stops. It's gorgeous. Since 1986, they've welcomed more than 176,000 families from all 50 states and 76 countries now. And the village is made possible by the support of generous donors and community partners, as well as thousands of passionate volunteers, me included, who donate their time and talent to make wishes come true. So you can learn more by visiting gktw.org. Give Kids the World. Fantastic organization.
Wow, I want to go check that out. Maybe next time we're in Florida, Rick, we can go get a little tour. Do you think
go run by the village? Yeah,
that would be fantastic. What a great organization just to help kids out, families. I love that. It's interesting. Last week we talked about helping families, with those who have been incarcerated, and that was so important. And just I realized, wow, this family focus really, it speaks to me. It touches my heart. I love what they're doing here with kids with childhood illnesses and really helping the families connect. So powerful.
Yeah. Some of my best friends, still people that I talked to, I met as a sophomore and junior at Give Kids the World, still friends, all these years later. It's a really, really cool organization. But yeah, let's dive into what is this creed? I mean, we've been talking about this 7-point creed. We've been talking about all these different things. I think it's just, why don't we just start hitting each point of the creed, and let's share some comments with it, Paul.
I like that. So we'll walk through the 7, just go one at a time and just kind of unpack each one. Is that the game plan?
Absolutely. Okay. And so let's start with the first one. And if you're taking notes, this is a great place to take notes. But the first one of the 7 factors of the creed is be true to yourself.
Yeah, I like this one, right? Be true to yourself. I've seen it too often where folks, especially when we're younger, you've heard the phrase imposter syndrome, right?
Of course.
And the imposter syndrome is actually feeling like, oh, I don't quite fit in. I'm not quite. People are going to think I'm I'm not cut out for this job kind of thing, or this opportunity. But there's this other aspect where there really is sort of this imposter syndrome from the standpoint of pretending to be something that you're not. And what really John's dad is saying is, don't be you. Don't be somebody you're not. Be who you are. So when I think about be true to yourself, I think about our values, right? One of the things that I love to do, especially with groups, individuals and groups, is to do the values exercise. Like, what are your values? What do you really, really value? Identify, and I want to have at least 3. What is it that you really value? 3 things. 7 is probably like my magic number. I like that, which, by the way, there's seven principles here, but but be true to yourself. It's identifying those values and living up to it, because we've shared it here on this podcast many times. Belief drives behavior. Your values reflect your beliefs. And so if you capture those values, those are what your beliefs are. And that's how your behavior should be. That's how it should be represented. And here's a cool thing that you get to do. Look at your behavior. Maybe get somebody else to look at it for you. Say, hey, tell me some of the behaviors that I have, because that decomposition of your behaviors is going to identify if you really are true to your values. So that's what comes across for me. Rick, how about you? Be true to yourself. What does it mean for you?
It's interesting. I don't mean to be looking at my phone, but I just listened to a phenomenal talk from Dave Hollis, and he was sharing a quote, and I don't know where the quote came from, so I'm attributing it to him. But it says, the time we spend trying to become someone people will love is wasted, because the most powerful and most attractive person we can be is who we already are, an ever-changing being that is becoming and will never arrive, but has opinions of what was seen along the journey. And that's there's something that I'm reading from my notes from his talk, because that just hit me squares. All this time, we talk about being true to yourself. Whenever you're sitting there trying to change or adapt to somebody else, or to change who you are, that's wasted time, because that person should love you for who you are, and people should be attracted to you because of who you are. And so I think it's just that simple. Be true to yourself is profound, but it's also just saying it's okay. There's a meme or a quote or story that's passing around Facebook right now, where it's a conversation with God, and it's like, I'm broken, and I need you to put me back together. And God's like, no, those pieces need to fall off, because you're becoming who you're supposed to be. The people that are leaving you right now, the people that you feel like you're breaking down and you're broken, that's intended to happen. I'm not going to save you from that. I'm going to allow that to happen, because that's what should happen in order for you to become who you were designed to be.
Wow.
Yeah, really, really powerful.
And that's so true. I just wanted to get alignment here as we're talking and sharing, what these mean to us. But John Wooden actually speaks on these things too. And he has a book. I just cracked it open. And it aligns with what you're saying, Rick. He says, and I'm not going to read all of this, but he says, the first point in Dad's creed, there was a reason for it. He says, you must know who you are and be true to who you are if you're going to be who you can and should become. So powerful. Absolutely. Know who you are and be true to who you are, so that you can become, right there. It says, if you're going to be who you are, you can and should become. That's why it's so important, so critical.
And I love that word become, because that means we're not here or we're never done. Right. Yeah. We talked about that in the last podcast, is that people say, oh, you're never happy because you're always looking for the next thing. No, I'm always becoming. I'm always becoming. I'm always evolving and changing, that kind of stuff. I'm not going to be happy being stuck in one area, right? Need to always be becoming. I think that's huge. Yep. The second point then, and this one's really near and dear to my heart, is help others.
Yeah. Help others. I mean, this is where it's all at, right? I love how Mark Miller talks about it. I think in The Heart of Leadership, serve, he uses that acrostic: serve, see the future, embody the values, reinvent continuously, value results in relationships, and engage and equip others. Serve. And what's what's really important here is we get a chance to serve other people, and we serve them with the values that we just talked about, right? Being true to ourselves, but the vision that we can cast, and helping them in the vision that they have, being that guide to help them. Maybe they're going through a failure. Remember that discussion? Maybe we get to help somebody through their struggles and their challenges. We get to help other people. Maybe we get to help some kids so they can spend a week, at a place, the whimsical place that allows them to think and connect as a family, with what's the name of the organization that we're supporting?
Give Kids the World.
Give Kids the World, right? We can help others. What a powerful principle. I love the fact that it's number 2. It's not number 7. It's right up front. Every day we have a chance to help others. That's what speaks to me on this. How about you?
Yeah, I've said it many times on the podcast that one of the greatest things that the John Maxwell team did for me was awaken my servant heart. And we can get so focused on what we need, what we're doing, what's happening. And we all know those people or have people in our lives that seem to take advantage. But the point is by serving unconditionally, loving unconditionally, valuing people unconditionally, it awakens a part of your sense of purpose and your sense of why that no other thing can do. There's no greater thing to do for somebody than to serve them and love them unconditionally. And looking at that opportunity to help others. John shares it. I've shared it with my kids, but I just recently, did this too. And starting a new job, the first thing you do is help. Just find out where people need help, and you just go help. It doesn't matter what your job title is. It's carrying boxes or sweeping the floors or whatever it is. Just go serve, and then you'll find that they start to value you just as much, right? And some people won't. But the point is the feeling that you get from serving others is something that becomes a driver or an energy to help you set up the next success for yourself. So serving others, helping others is tremendous.
Yeah, and I would say, I just wrote this down, serving is the greatest platform for leadership.
Without a doubt.
Right? So if you were looking for a platform as a leader, the best platform is to serve. It opens the doors, it connects you, it allows you to do what you're designed to do. And it's so powerful.
Yeah, I'm gonna. When I was a young manager in a restaurant, I thought I had this mentality is I wouldn't ask anybody to do anything I wouldn't do myself. And so I was out working everybody, but I wasn't endeared. And then there was this other manager who was super lazy, sat on one chair near the bar, and everybody came to him. They loved him. And the difference is he served their needs. It wasn't about all this effort and work. And I was sitting there saying, "Oh, I'm going to outwork everybody," but nobody would follow me because I wasn't serving them. I was essentially serving my own ego. This guy was such a great teacher for me because he didn't have to work as hard as I did, and people followed him because he served their needs when they were needed. It was an interesting thing for me.
Yeah.
So let's go to point number 3 then. Make each day your masterpiece.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I love this one, right? Because it really sets the stage. It's like, well, wait a minute. Today's a new day. Every day is a new day. Right. What if we have only today, Rick? What if we had a mindset like, okay, today is the day. I only have today. And when people, I've met people along the way who, unfortunately, they're given a diagnosis that wasn't so good. And they were given a short period of time to live this life. One person that comes to mind that many people know of is Randy Pausch. I had a chance to actually spend time with him before he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And he knew his clock was short. So he pretty much made every day a masterpiece, especially in those last days. And his point is, you know what? You don't have to wait for a bad diagnosis. Every day is an opportunity to make an impact. We can make today a masterpiece. All right. So looking at our priorities of the day, thinking about what it is that I really want to accomplish. How do I really want to serve? And that's why I'm glad it follows the last one that we just talked about. But it creates an opportunity for us to say, you know what? I can add value to others. I can help others. I can step forward. I can make a masterpiece. And it's not my masterpiece. He's not saying make it your masterpiece, right? He's saying make each day really a masterpiece. I want to be really clear, even though it does say make each day your masterpiece, but it's not your masterpiece. Okay. It could be a masterpiece for somebody else. You could add, because we're following the last one, help others. So let's make that difference. Make a masterpiece for those around us and in our world, those that we connect with, those that we touch and love and care about. Let's make it a masterpiece for them. So what about your thoughts on this?
Yeah, this one hits me square. We talked about the death of my father and my mom choosing a song called If Tomorrow Never Comes, and it just bothered me. It became just this negative influence. And then I went and got to see a play called Rent. And in that there was a mantra for no day but today. And for those people that are watching on YouTube and stuff, there's my book right there called No Day But Today. But the same thing as Randy said, I was like, the most joyful people I've met are the ones that know, that something has happened. Even like Brendan Bouchard's amazing, but he was contemplating suicide and then had a near-death experience and decided, hey, this life is pretty good. And he brings the joy consistently. But why do we need to have the diagnosis? Why do we need to have the accident in order for us to embrace that? So No Day But Today was written with that same challenge in mind of let's not wait for a negative in order for us to find a positive and then have all this wasted time that you could have been doing that. It's a decision and an attitude right now that there is no day but today. Yeah. And that one hits me like crazy.
Yeah, and Maxwell's book was what? Today Matters.
Today
right?
Matters. Yeah.
Today Matters. Right here with today. That's why they call it the present, right? We're right here.
Yeah. Tomorrow. Even going back to like high school volleyball, we had a mantra which was now. So our coach taught us like a bad play, whatever. After every play, we'd get together in a huddle and we'd say now, and that was just getting our mindset. Doesn't matter what just happened. We've got the next thing to go do, and that was really, really impactful to me.
Yeah.
All right. So number 4. Drink deeply from good books.
Yeah, real quick before we get into good book stuff, because I can't wait to get into this. I'm just looking at Wood and stuff, making sure we're in alignment with what we're saying, with what he's sharing. And he says something that I think is pretty profound, Rick. He says, too often we get distracted by what is outside our control. You can't do anything about yesterday. The door to the past has been shut and the key thrown away. You can do nothing about tomorrow. It is yet to come. However, today, or actually he says, however, tomorrow is in a large part determined by what you do today. So make today a masterpiece. You have control over that. So just a reminder on that. So good books. Yeah, the whole thing on good books, it's impacted my life. I wasn't a huge reader until maybe 15 years ago. And I've gotten more value out of reading good books. I mean, there were certainly books that I read before then, but over the last 15 years, I've really done a focused approach on this thing, and it's profoundly impacted me. And I would say, guys, if you really want something that'll help give you a shortcut to greater understanding, I think experience is important. Evaluated experience, absolutely critical. But you can also evaluate the experiences of other people, and you do that by reading good books. Think about it. We talked about this before, Rick. There's a lot of time and effort that's spent in writing a book, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And what that author is typically doing, if it's a nonfiction, is that they're pouring their heart out. They want to share something meaningful and useful to you, right? They're actually trying to live the creed here and helping others. And in that, they're trying to give you some wisdom so that you can leverage and use. And so when you read, you get to pick that and pull that and get those nuggets. It's like a mentor. That's why many people identify John Maxwell as a mentor toward them. Maybe they've never even met him, but he's still a mentor towards them. Because why? Because that information has been shared. John Wooden is the same for John Maxwell before he met him. So we get to read, we get to learn, we get to understand, and it makes an impact. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's a conscious hive mind is what it is. One of the things I value about doing this podcast with you is that you'll have an idea, I'll build on it, you'll build on it further, and then I walk away with this idea or this thought. Well, imagine being able to sit down and talk with John Wooden. You kind of can by deeply reading his books and hearing him and imagining his voice and understanding, right? That to me is having people are like, oh, I would love to meet John Maxwell. Okay, well, read his books because you're going to meet him. right? I would have loved to talk to Kobe Bryant. Read his book because you're going to
Yeah.
meet him. You're
Yeah.
going to see him. So to me, that's where it's at. It's a conscious hive mind and an opportunity to meet and commune with your heroes because they left a legacy behind in their books. So read, and leaders are readers, right? No doubt about it. Leaders are readers. All
So
right.
so
Go
true
ahead.
though. I love that statement. I mean, you get to meet these folks in their books. I mean, you really truly do get to meet them. So yeah, it's great. I'm ready for the next one.
Make friendship a fine art. That's beautiful.
Ooh. Yeah. I mean, that's a bumper sticker right there, right? I mean, he could have started off with that one. So important because I think, when I get busy, Rick, sometimes I lose sight of the friendships that I have. Not that I intend to ignore them, but I do because I get so focused in and I forget the opportunities that I have. But if I can make friendship a fine art, and it's got to be focused. I've got to be intentional about this. These are all laws of intention, by the way, right? But if I can make friendship a fine art, boy, that's going to serve me well. I'm going to be able to go back and really truly be myself. I'll be able to help others. I'll be able to make each day a masterpiece. It allows me to do all the things that preceded it in this list. So I think this is important. Your thoughts on this?
Yeah, in fact, we're doing a mastermind series right now on friendship, and so Brendan Bouchard, Glow, Koya Webb, Dave Hollis, Jamie Kern Lima. But it's been amazing. It's been amazing to listen to being very conscious about making friendship a fine art, and that we have different types of friends. We have friends that are anchor friends. We have friends that are helping us grow. They're friends that have come in. What's the quote? They come in for a season or a reason, right? But the point is people come into our lives for specific reasons, and so I'm always really excited to find out what that purpose is. And sometimes it may not be revealed till years later. But there's a phrase I use often when I'm talking to somebody. It's like, this is why you and I met right here, right now. This is why we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. And I get really, really excited about that. But yeah, really making a conscious effort. And sometimes, you can do that too by scheduling time. So one of the things that I try to do every week is to reach out to somebody I haven't talked to, 3 months or longer, right? And just reach out, let them know I'm thinking of them. And so that could be something that we'll move into a tip and challenge here in a little bit. But something of that sort of making a conscious effort to keep those friendships active and going.
Yeah, this is really powerful. I think we could do a whole podcast just on the art of being a friend. And that might be something we need to look at because
I dig that. I dig that. We'll put that one down.
Yeah. All right. So let's bookmark that. Put that in the parking lot.
All right. Number 6, build shelter for a rainy day.
This one's pretty powerful, right? I mean, it's recognizing the fact that we're going to have some struggles and challenges. Days will pop open that may not be what we asked for or hoped for, but we can prepare ourselves for that. We can prepare for whatever challenges might come, and be ready to pivot and adapt. And I want to reflect on this more. I want to get your thoughts. I'm going to go to Wooden too. I want to see what he says on this. He says that it's not necessarily a material shelter. Your faith, whatever it may be, is the greatest shelter of all. In many ways, we've been taken in by materialism. I'm not saying possessions are unimportant, but we often put them out of proportion ahead of family, faith, and friends. So he's just saying rely on those friends. Yes, rely on your faith, but be ready for that. What are your thoughts on this? Build a shelter.
Yeah, that's where I was going. I love that you just did that quote, because my shelter is in my attitude. I don't necessarily have this huge rainy day fund, or I just know things are going to happen, and I know that I'm going to have the perseverance to get through them. And so people, and it's funny how when you have an attitude like that, what gets attracted, it seems that I make just enough to get through whatever it was that just popped up. Right. It's like, I just live a life of abundance and know that somehow, some way things are going to work out because they have to. At the end of the day, they have to. I'm going to continue. I'm going to persevere.
Yep.
Being a head of household with kids, things are going to pop up left and right. And it's just this attitude of, okay, here it comes. Let's go. We'll figure it out. I don't know how. I just know I will do it. Right. It's the difference between want and will that we talk about. It's not that I want to have a rainy day fund. I will have a rainy day fund, and it's just going to figure it out.
Yeah. By the way, all these principles are breaking average principles when you think about it.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
That's why I wanted to share these guys. These are so powerful. You can, if you Google these, the 7-point creed, you'll find some great memes on this, and, pin it on the wall. These are really powerful. All right. I'm ready for
point number 7, right?
Yep.
Pray for guidance and give thanks for your blessings each day.
Wow. What a great way to kind of end it. Right. There's something I read in the book of Philippians that has been profound for me, and I've probably read it 1,000 times, but it was only recently that I really understood it in a whole new way. It actually says, and I don't have we'll try to find an exact quote, but it says, give thanks to God and thank him in advance for what he's going to do. And I love that thought about thanking God in advance. Right. So pray for guidance and give thanks for your blessings each day. It's actually stepping forward with expectation that, it's going to be okay. No matter what the challenges that we're facing, it's going to be okay. God's going to grant me an ability for me to get through whatever struggle or challenge that I'm going through, whatever I have to persevere, and thanking ahead of time for the prayers that will be answered for ourselves or for whatever friends we have. And that'll allow us, you talked about attitude a moment ago, that it gives us an attitude that allows us to kind of steer through those challenges. So praying for guidance and giving thanks, so powerful. And I got to witness this from my dad before he passed. I didn't realize, Rick, I knew that he was a prayer. I always thought he was on his computer playing solitaire. Well, he had it up, but when he passed, we found this drawer. And in the drawer, it was a prayer list. And the prayer list was like 5 pages long, and it was penciled, and he had fresh marks on there. And he had pulled out that, it was one of those flat table, drawer kind of things. And he pulled it out. And while he may have had solitaire going, he was actually praying through that list. And in there, he had notes of thanks to God for prayers that were about to be answered. Like, thank you, Lord, for encouraging and supporting them. And I wish I had that in front of you guys, but it was so powerful and so profound for me to find that and discover that after his passing. And I realized what an important element it is to live a life where we have that faith and we can pray for guidance and we can thank our Creator for all the provisions that he provides, that he sustains our steps and gives us strength and support. That's powerful. So
you and I love to break down words. And what I love about the word gratitude is that attitude is in it. Mm-hmm. Gratitude is an attitude. And I think, somebody asked about a gratitude journal the other day to Brendan. Brendan goes, I don't have a gratitude journal. I journal. And every day when I journal gratitude. I don't have to have a specific journal for doing that. I just journal, right? All of my hopes and fears, but also my gratitudes are a daily thing. It's a daily life of bringing the joy. And I think that's really, really important. And to count our blessings, we tend to have a negative mindset in the sense of, especially when you're sharing with friends, here's all the things that went wrong today. Here's all the things that bothered me today. Can you believe this person did this to me while I was at the grocery store? All these dumb things that we tend to spend cycles on versus, man, the sun came up today. Like and so one of the practices I've started is in Wayne Dyer talks about it in The Power of Intention. Like all of these different things is put your feet on the floor and thank you. the fact that you woke up, that the sun is shining, and that I don't have to go do anything today. I get to do my
Yeah.
life today. I
Yeah.
get the opportunity to go live my life. That's what that means to me, Paul.
I love that. I love that approach, the get to part. So as we kind of wind the tape down on this thing, this is so good, and I don't want folks to miss the opportunities here to really leverage and use these principles. Rick, let's talk about real quick, just kind of your quick thoughts on how do we transfer this. Like, you and I are doing our best to transfer this through a podcast. That's great, but how can other people take this and teach this? John Wooden, what's interesting is John Wooden's dad wrote this down on the back of a card, and somewhere I read that it actually isn't really from, he pulled it from someone else, so it's been passed down through generations. How do we pass this on?
I think my answer to this always is model the behavior. For years, I lived a really unhealthy lifestyle, and you and I were talking before the podcast what a big week it's about to be for me in terms of monikers and metrics and things of that sort. But I think one of the bigger things is people that are close to me. My daughter is going to work out with me at the gym because she's seen the results that I've attained over changing some habits. And I think it's the same in every one of these principles, that if you embody them, you model the behavior, you believe in them, people are going to ask, and people are going to follow, and people are going to change just one small aspect of their life because they see it working in yours. I think that's the greatest way to transfer any principle. Absolutely, these 7.
Yeah, that's good. I love it. Yeah, and my thoughts too. I mean, you got to model it, guys. Best way to transfer it is to model it, live it out. I think that's why John Wooden is successful in sharing this with us, is because he modeled it. I mean, if he didn't represent himself the way that's really reflected here, and we could talk about his pyramids of success, that would be another discussion altogether. But think about the impact that he made. And we talked about failure last week. He pushed through all those struggles and those challenges. He found success. In fact, I love this quote of his. I got it right here. I just picked it up yesterday. Success is never it's never final. Excuse me. Can't talk. Success is never final, and failure is never fatal. John Wooden. And I think perseverance is probably the best way to transfer this. Keep persevering, guys. Keep persevering.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, hey, I want to quickly, I know we're closing in on this, Rick. This has been so good, but I want to just do another shout out to our sponsor today. So excited for them. Give the Kids the World Village. They're all about perseverance too, when you think about it. So just go to www.gktw.org. Check them out. Fantastic organization. I had a chance to sponsor them last year on some stuff, and I really want to support them again, and I want to encourage our listeners to do the same.
Absolutely. So why don't we jump in then to our tip and challenge?
Yeah. My tip and challenge is I love that John Wooden, Joshua is his name. His dad gave him that 7-point creed, and that gives me a challenge. That gives all of us a challenge, right? So on that card, we called it the analog meme. They had the poem on one side, and you can go Google that and you can find out what that poem was. It's pretty cool. And then the 7-point creed, which we just unpacked. So my tip and challenge for you guys is do the same. Think about what you reflect, what you want to pass down, what legacy you want to hand off, right? John Wooden says, I'm just a common man who is true to his beliefs. And that's our challenge, all of our challenges. Let's be true to our beliefs and let's pass that on to other people. Your thoughts, Rick?
I think it's important to do what we just did, Paul, and we learn about each other, and we build off of each other when we discuss these. So I would challenge to get your friend circle and go through these and just, do it. And you could do it 2 ways. You can either do it just via phone call or catch up. But one of my favorite ways is the art of the round table. I mean, you can literally transform countries through the art of the round table. What if you and your friends were able to take these 7 principles, you pick one value each week and discuss it, and then you pick a specific person a specific time and a specific way to embody that value, so that you're also now putting it into practice. And so if it's be true to yourself, that could be you, could be the specific person, right? But if it's any of the other ones, you could just pick, say, you know what, as part of friendship being a fine art, I'm going to call Paul Gustafson next week and just thank him for being a friend and a mentor in my life. Something that simple. And then you get back and report the results, but see that change, discuss the change. And I think it sticks a lot better when you do that with friends.
Yeah, and I love that idea too, that challenge. I think there's an additional challenge that you just shared that I don't want people to miss. At least for me, I don't want to miss it. I'm going to go back and kind of look at my friends list, the list of folks that maybe I haven't reached out to in a long time that I need to reach out to again. Make friendship a fine art. We meet people for a reason, and it's not just for a season, it's for a reason. And maybe it's time to reach back out and touch those. So I'm going to do that. Hey guys, we want to encourage you to go visit our website, breakingaverage.com. Check it out. Also, again, thank you. We are so excited to be able to just plug, Give the Kids the World Village. You guys are doing a great job, and we want to support you any way we can. So check them out. And we'll put their link also on our Breaking Average website. So Rick, this has been fun. Thank you, man.
Thank you for the conversation. And I love doing these podcasts, and you know what, we took a little break there, but I was missing some energy during the week. You and I get together Sunday mornings bright and early to do these, and it really does kind of fill my coffer full of energy to get ready into the week. So I missed hanging out with you, partner, and I'm so excited about season 3. So another fantastic conversation. Once again, we're inspired by our mission of leadership and breaking average, and tune in next week. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Breaking Average podcast. If you loved what you heard, please take a moment to subscribe. All opinions and comments expressed in this podcast are those of the participants and do not reflect the opinions or views of any of the advertisers, producers, or platforms. This show was produced by R² Multimedia. A special thank you to Milestone Melodies for our theme music. As you continue your day, what is one action that you can apply from this podcast to your life? Tune in for our next episode as we continue to challenge everyone to break average.